Here we are in Danville, Virginia. It is 97 degrees outside, according to Apple. And inside the car, it is 109 degrees. Hey everybody, it's been a long day at work, and I just took the car out and cooled it down a little bit. And I'm going to pull up in the parking lot here. And thought I'd try a little experiment today because it's going to be one of the hottest days of the year. It's supposed to be a high of 98 today, and a lot of times people think it's not a big deal. It feels perfectly comfortable in here with the air conditioning running, and people have a temptation if you're bringing your dog to the vet or if you're bringing your dog around town. It's like, well, I'm going to run in real quick and just leave him in the car. That's a very, very dangerous thing to do. So I thought I'd do a little experiment on myself and see how hot it gets in the car and how long it takes to get hot. So we're going to turn the car off. Well, I'm going to crack the windows a little bit, I think. So my dog was in here, hypothetically. Say if we crack the windows, maybe that'll give him a little breathing room and keep it cooler. So I'm going to turn the car off. And I've got a thermometer here. It looks like we're about 70 degrees in here right now. It's very comfortable. I don't know if y'all can see that. You can see that? Yeah? So, and what we need to do is start a timer too. We'll start a timer and see how long it takes for the car to get hot. Anyhow, I'll hold it up there so you can see it. We're backwards, aren't we? I don't know how to fix that problem. So I'll check back with you in a few minutes to see how it goes. Okay, I've been sitting here for 2 minutes and it is starting to get uncomfortable in here. It feels stuffy, feels warm. I can see the leaves on the trees moving outside, but I cannot feel any breeze coming through the cracks in the windows here. So if I was a dog, it would be even more prevalent because they have to pant to get rid of their heat. They have to move a lot of air back and forth over their tongue, and their tongue will swell up and get large and hang out to try and release a lot of that heat. So they'd be panting and drooling and losing a lot of fluids that way. So it can happen really quickly. So we're going to hang in here and say, if you go in, run to the grocery store and say you're going to go get something real quick, and then, you know, you see somebody that you might know and you talk to them for a few minutes, and then you can't find exactly what you need. And if you go to the checkout aisle and somebody's got to get a price check on something. So I think it'd be 10 or 15 minutes is pretty common for somebody to be away from their car. And so what I'm going to do is try to see if I can do 15 minutes in here and see what it feels like. And see if I don't know if the thermostat has changed at all. Well, we're moving up. It's almost up to 80 already. So the thing about it is when it's outside, if the temperature's 98 outside, then the temperature in here gets magnified more quickly because it's like a greenhouse where the rays of the sun come in through the glass and they get trapped in here, and it increases the heat. So the black interior of this car probably doesn't help much either. So we'll give it a couple more minutes and I'll check back with you. All right, I'm coming up on 6 minutes now, and I'm just starting to break the first bead of sweat. And because dogs can't sweat at this point, what they do is their heart rate starts to rise and they start pumping the blood faster around their body, and they start panting harder. So they're pumping more blood through their lungs and panting off the heat as quickly as they can, and try and recirculate that heat, or get the heat off their body and breathe it off in their breath. And when you're, well, let's see what the temperature is. The normal body temperature for a dog is between 100 and 102, so a little warmer than we are. And we are up to 90 degrees in here. So it's going to be hard to pant off any heat, because if your normal body temperature is 100 degrees and it's 90 degrees outside, you're not changing air very much. That 10 degrees is not reducing your body temperature. And if they start to get anxiety or agitated, they start pacing back and forth in the car, they're just contracting their muscles, and they're going to raise their temperature even quicker. So it's very important. Don't leave your pets in the car. Don't leave your kids in the car. Don't leave anything in the car, because it can get really hot in here. Okay, I made it to 10 minutes. So we are, and I'm really uncomfortable. I was tempted to crack the door open just now, and I've been noticing that I'm feeling for that breeze to come through the cracks in the windows, and I got a little tiny taste of a breeze one time, but that's about it. But let's see what the thermostat's saying here. Looks like we're almost up to 100 degrees. So just in 10 minutes, that's an incredible jump in the temperature. And especially if you're at a grocery store or a place that's a lot of black asphalt, it will really attract more heat. So that if the weatherman says it's going to be 100 degrees, it might be 110 degrees on the ground. And this is something else to watch out for with your pets, is that they can burn their feet on the asphalt. And this is a common thing out west. You see veterinarians in Arizona and Nevada and things like that, that dogs will burn their feet, people taking them on walks down the road, because it'll just, the pads on their feet will just slough off, and then they have these little raw pink spots everywhere those pads are, and it can take a long time, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, for those pads to grow back. So it's a dangerous thing. Do not do this at home. Don't lock yourself in the car like I have done, and don't lock your pets in the car. It's a dangerous thing. I'm going to keep going to see how long I can handle it, but hopefully I don't pass out here. I'm starting to get a little bit sweaty and a little bit wet here, but I'll check back with you in a few more minutes. All right, I made it to 15 minutes now, sitting in the parking lot. It has been excruciating. I should have brought a book to read or some music to play or something, because it's really hard sitting in here thinking about the heat. And we're going past 100 degrees, so 104 or something like that in here. It's above a body temperature for a dog, so it's beyond the point where they're ever going to be able to pant off any of their heat. And it's going to be detrimental to them. And so at this point, they just start to pant harder and harder. Their body's just physiology has decided to just keep going and trying. And so the harder they pant, the more they're exerting energy, and the more their body temperature climbs. So they're just going to get hotter and hotter. And then what's going to happen is that the heat and their high body temperature can actually start to damage their internal organs, and their internal organs will release toxins that can actually damage the blood cells. The blood's not boiling per se, but the cells inside the blood are so very delicate, as if you raise the temperature in there, that it can damage them, and the red blood cells start to die, and the other cells in the blood start to die, and then they release their internal factors that can cause problems. There can be swelling around the brain. Then the dogs can start to get delirious, and you'll see them, they're glazed over eyes, and they're just panting uncontrollably, and they just can't even, they're staring off into space, but they don't even know that you're there. And then as it progresses, they get more and more neurologic signs with the brain. They go into seizures, and then eventually they will die from it. If they come into the animal clinic, if you find your dog in this situation, or your cat, first thing you want to do is get some cool water and wet them down right to the skin, and just wet them down over and over again. And sometimes they're so hot, you put the water on them, and you run your hand across it, and you're like, well, the water's warm already. It's just their body heat is warming that cool water. We don't want to do ice cold water, because that'll vasoconstrict all their blood vessels in their skin, and it'll inhibit their ability to transfer heat. But you want to keep rinsing them with cool water, and then call your veterinarian immediately and tell them you're coming, and get the dog down there, and we can put him on IV fluids and other medications to confront and combat all the side effects of this. If we catch them really early, we can get them to come back around, and they do okay. Sometimes their internal thermostat is off for a few days, and they're just not quite right, and they go through a bout of serious diarrhea, because their internal organs, their intestines, have been damaged from the overheating. Sometimes they just have permanent brain damage. There's nothing we can do. So it can happen very quickly in a car, but it can happen outside on a day like today, just outside in the backyard. You want to make sure that they always have shade, and that they have cool water to drink. A little baby pool that you can fill up with water, and they can get down in it and cool off is very good. But it's really best for them to have air conditioning. So if you have a way to bring them in the house, do that. If you don't have a way, if you don't have air conditioning at your house, for example, there's lots of places that accept pets now that you can go and you can take a little tour through Home Depot and spend an hour in there and looking at all the things and walking your dog around, and both of you get cooled off. You can go to PetSmart, of course the dogs are welcome there. You can go to Two Witches or the local brewery, they accept pets. There's lots of places that accept pets now. So we are coming up on 19 minutes. So I just want to stay with this and see if we can peg out this thermometer, how long it takes to get up to 120 degrees, because this is starting to feel like a sauna, and it's not very enjoyable, but I guess people pay good money for this kind of thing. But it feels like a sauna. I'm sweating out some toxins here. Looks like maybe we're at 106 or 108. And let's give it 5 more minutes and see how high it goes. Here we are in Danville, Virginia. It is 97 degrees outside, according to Apple. And inside the car, it is 109 degrees. 109. And I thought I could get here till 100. It has been almost past 25 minutes I've been sitting here, and it is brutal. It's brutal. I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit. And if I was a dog in the car, I may not have water with me, but I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit. This is something you don't want to do. You don't want to lock anybody in the car. You don't, because if you think 3 or 4 minutes running into the store real quick, something could happen. It could turn into 30 minutes real easy. And it is just, I'm starting to feel a little bit nauseous, and it's not good in here. Don't do it. But anyhow, I think I'm going to end my experiment. I don't know if I can handle it. I'm going to be able to get to 120. But there you go. It doesn't take very long for your car to heat up, and it's very dangerous this time of year, so just be extra careful. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Take care.